here is a very simple macaroni and cheese. So let's go make this. You know, before I show you how to make it, Nanny Shell's got to taste this. Ooh, look at that cheese. That's yummy mac and cheese. So I start with putting a little bit of butter on the bottom. Now, honey, this is simple because you pour it all in one pan and you ain't even got to cook the noodles. Then I'm going to pour me 2½ cups of uncooked macaroni noodles. Now, honey, you can use any kind of little noodles you want, but you need 2½ cups. Then I'm going to pour to that. I put me a half a cup of hot water in this and a tablespoon of better than bouillon, and I mix that up. Now we're just going to pour that on over in this. All right, now in this I've got me 2 cups of whole milk and 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Just going to pour that right on over in there. Okay, now I'm going to add me a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder. Now to this, I'm going to add, I did melt me a stick of butter and it was salted, so now I'm going to pour a little bit more over in this. You know, I did pour some on the bottom and now I'm going to pour some in this. And I'm not going to add my salt right yet because remember that bouillon that I mixed up, the better than bouillon, it is salty, so you don't want to over salt this. Okay, now it's time for this yummy cheese. You know, you always got to have cheese for the macaroni and cheese, honey. All right, in this, I've got about 4 cups, but I added 3 different kinds of cheese. Honey, I've got a cup of Gouda smoked cheese, and then I put some mild shredded cheddar cheese and some mozzarella cheese, and I used a cup of each, and I just mixed it all up together. So now we're just gonna put that all in there. Okay, now we're gonna mix this all up. Honey, how simple is this gonna be? You mix it all in one bowl, and then you're gonna stick it in the oven. You ain't gotta sit around and boil water for the noodles and sit and watch the noodles. You're just gonna mix it all up in this and bake in the oven. Okay, now I'm gonna add me a little bit of salt. I say I'm gonna add about a teaspoon. And about a teaspoon of pepper. And you know, if it ain't salty enough, you can always salt it later when you start to eat it. But you can't take that salt out if it's too salty. All right, now I preheated my oven on 375. You're probably gonna wanna cook this 30 to 40 minutes. And then you're gonna take it out. And then you're gonna put your cheese on top if you want some on it, and you're gonna cook it another 10 minutes. But you do wanna cover this for those 30 to 40 minutes with a little aluminum foil, and then you'll uncover it and cook it another 10 minutes. Now we're gonna put this in the oven. Okay, we got it out of the oven after it baked in there for about 35 minutes. And now what you do, you just mix this all up again. And then after we get it all mixed up, then we'll put us some cheese on top of it and put it back in the oven. Okay, I added my cheese on top, and now I'm gonna put it back in the oven for about 10 or 15 more minutes. And then we'll be back with it. Woo, this looks good, and it's hot out of the oven. So go share this with your friends and family. And remember to smile because God loves you, and baby, He's got this.